English vocabulary lesson. Today's lesson is on popular crime words, cops and robbers. Here we go. This is an intermediate English vocabulary lesson on cops and robbers. We're going to cover 3 categories. 1, slang for police officers. Number 2, the many different kinds of thieves, because there are so many. And number 3, common crime words. These are words you'll hear in movies and on the news. Hi, my name is Melissa, and I am an English teacher. This is a channel for intermediate and upper intermediate English learners on all things English, such as vocabulary, slang, idioms, and street talk, grammar, of course, and stories in English. Let's dive in. Let's dive right in. That means to dive in means to start immediately. Here we go. Number 1, slang for police officers. Well, officer, police officer, policeman, policewoman, that is not slang. But the slang words are cops, buzz, and bobby. So bobby is the British English term for cops, and cops would be the American English term. Another slang word for police officers is the meter maid. That's the parking police. That's the police officer who gives you a parking ticket, and we call them meter maids. If you ever watched Zootopia, the bunny in Zootopia is the meter maid. Now, this next slang word for police officers is actually negative and derogatory. So you would never ever say this to a policeman to their face. But if you refer to them and you don't like police officers, you call them a pig. They're pigs. And so it's quite a bad word. Category number 2, many kinds of thieves. So you notice that thieves has a V-E-S because that's the plural of thief. 1 thief with an F, 2 thieves. The F becomes a V-E-S. Okay, so here is a massive list of different kinds of thieves. I will introduce them here and then explain them in more detail a little bit later on. Number 1, armed robber, bank robber, shoplifter, cat burglar, grand theft auto, a mugger, a burglar, identity thief, armed robber. An armed robber is a robber with a weapon because the word arm, the root A-R-M, means weapon. So this criminal steals things like money or jewelry, for example, from a bank or a store with a gun. So you kind of feel like you have to give it to them because they have a gun in your face. A bank robber is an armed robber. It's basically a robber, a thief who steals money from a bank and is called a bank robber, but they're armed. They're an armed robber. Now we have a shoplifter. This thief steals things from a shop like candy or a watch or a pair of jeans. They steal from a shop, so they're called a shoplifter. A cat burglar. This kind of criminal steals expensive, important, hard to get things such as the Mona Lisa painting from the Louvre. They're called a cat burglar because they steal these very hard to get items because they are highly skilled robbers who use technology. So we call them cat burglars because, like a cat, they have 9 lives, they're hard to kill, and they always land on their feet. Grand theft auto. This is when the thief steals something expensive like a car. Now, it doesn't have to just be a car. Grand theft means an expensive item. but Grand Theft Auto is a very popular expression you hear in the movies. A mugger is someone who robs you in the street. This criminal steals from you in the street, usually with a gun or a knife, and says, "Hand over your money." Batman's parents were mugged and murdered, if you remember the movie Batman. So a mugger is the criminal, but you are the victim. You could say you were mugged, to be mugged. A burglar, burglar, burglar. This one's a little harder to pronounce. A burglar, this thief commits a break and entering, which we call B&E. B&E, you'll hear that in the movies, B&E. They break and enter your house or your store illegally and then steal something from within. Identity theft. This one's a terrible crime because it means that someone, a thief, has stolen your identity and they have collected data about you, such as your birth date and your address, and then they open a bank account in your name and then take all your money and all your ID. It's really quite a bad thing to go through, I imagine. Part 3, crimes. In this section, we'll talk about those very common description of crimes. So here we go. The crime, arson. The criminal, arsonist, an arsonist. This criminal, an arsonist, sets fire to things and buildings and don't really think they care that much if someone gets trapped in a building that's on fire. They just love to destroy property by setting it on fire. Next, the crime, murder. The criminal, a murderer. This criminal, a murderer, kills or murders other people. The crime, drug dealing. The criminal, you guessed it, a drug dealer. This criminal, a drug dealer, buys and sells drugs illegally. The crime, vandalism. Vandalism. The criminal, a vandal. Vandal. This means destroys property. So this criminal, a vandal, likes to destroy things like painting bad messages on a wall or breaking a window, destroy property. The crime, a hijacking. A hijacking. The criminal, a hijacker. A hijacker. This criminal, a hijacker, takes over your airplane or car or train or boat, whatever vehicle, by force and tells you to take them somewhere. Often, the passengers are taken with the vehicle as hostages. The crime, blackmail. Blackmail. The criminal, a blackmailer. A blackmailer. The blackmailer threatens to tell your secret unless you pay him or her money to be quiet, to keep quiet. Often it comes in the form of a letter that you get in the mail, so that's why blackmail. The crime, a bomb attack, a terrorist attack. The criminal, a bomber, a terrorist. This criminal bombs cars, airplanes, or buildings, etc., with the intention of killing people. That's why they call them a terrorist. They blow things up. The crime, assault. Assault. The criminal, an assailant. An assailant. Assailant. You see the spelling changes from crime to criminal. This criminal, an assailant, starts a fight and hurts someone physically. They take the first punch, for example. The crime, smuggling. Smuggling. The criminal, a smuggler, a smuggler. This criminal, a smuggler, brings things illegally into another country like drugs, cigarettes, or even people. You can smuggle people by crossing a border from one country to another. Smuggling. The crime, a kidnapping, a kidnapping. The criminal, a kidnapper, a kidnapper. You see the word kid in the word kidnapper. This criminal, a kidnapper, steals kids, but it could be also they steal rich people like mom and dad too from families for ransom money. If you pay them money, they say they will return your family member to you safely, which may not always be true. So, if you like this video, please hit the like button. And if you would like to receive more videos like these, please hit the subscribe button. And thank you for watching a video by Melissa Carroll, my English teacher.